All right, guys. Hi, how you doing? My name is Robert Downing. I gathered you all together to ask you this quick question. Who doesn't want to get paid this week? Who doesn't want to pay their bills this week? Hold that thought. Don't actually answer that question for me. I actually wanted to just get your mind on a topic that I don't think many folks in this particular room, including myself, have really spent much time really thinking about. Whether it's our rent or our car payment, whatnot. We've kind of set sail in that department. But the fact of the matter is not all of our employees share that same grace in life as we do. And some of our employees work really darn hard for us. Namely, the employees I'm speaking about in particular in this meeting is our salesmen. It seems we've actually been losing a handful of salesmen, not just a handful, almost, in the course of a year, we'll lose all of our salesmen. And I've been seeing this go on for about two and a half years, and you guys know I've been around for a while, and obviously everybody, we all appreciate each other, but one thing I wanted to touch on is, we're actually losing revenue as a company while we're losing our salesmen. You see our sales numbers drop year by year, not by much, but we're also struggling to retain the very same people who are making us that money. We're actually losing customer opportunities. If you look at the amount of customers we're actually working with this year versus last year, we're working with less volume. That's because we're not able to handle as much, because we're not retaining the salesmen that we have. Anyways, I've done some looking up. I found some quotes and stats that I think we'll all find useful. Things that I hope we can utilize to hopefully, maybe steer ourselves a little more to a maybe salesman-friendly environment. One I found was by Cron.com, and I would love to have these displayed for you. I've been trying to print them out for a few days now, and I'm having a few issues, so I'm just going to go ahead and read them to you. I've pretty much memorized them at this point. Cron.com actually says the top two primary reasons that employees of any kind wind up, looking for other employment or just simply not being happy or leaving their job. It's pay, but it was also interest. There was a few other ones in there. There was a top 5 list actually, and pay and interest. I think those were the top 3. Pay was one. What I'm driving at is I think those are connected. How can I be interested in selling whatever we're trying to sell, working with whoever we're trying to work with, dealing with whoever's problems I'm getting paid to deal with, when I'm not really getting paid? That's how America works. If I couldn't live where I wanted to live for free, and I don't think we should necessarily be able to have these, salesmen come on and sometimes at very, very low wages or commission-only wages or hourly only, very, very low hourly with commission wages. And what I'm trying to drive at is that I think we could actually provide them a better service, and in turn provide ourselves a better service, provide ourselves more profitability and an all-around nicer environment to work in and come to. Forbes actually ran a stat, and it said that 73% of all American workers nationwide are stressed out on the job due to pay. I wonder how much that coincides with the stats of how many Americans are actually management. I didn't even think about looking that up beforehand, but needless to say, 3/4 of our population is probably mildly stressed out. And I think with our folks, we could say they're at the top of those bunch. We got people working, 30, 40 a week, if they can get that, and aren't even making $1,500 a month. And honestly, I couldn't pay my rent with that. Meanwhile, they're bringing in $150,000 to $200,000 in the sales a month. And, again, I think we can afford to do a little bit better by them. Direct Link Glassdoor. I looked up this one. This one was actually interesting. It actually it verified something that I kind of feel like I always knew. I think we all can kind of agree with as well. There's a direct link with how much you're going to enjoy your job and how much you're going to put yourself into your job versus how much you're getting paid. Bottom line is if you pay me $5 an hour or $500,000 an hour, I think everybody in this room could guarantee a different level of work, and that's quite a big analogy. It's a little bit drastic. But I think sometimes you need those drastic analogies to really kind of drive home something that may not seem wrong, but really kind of is wrong. Because if we were actually able to pay these employees more, pay them better, not only could we start hiring better, employees, because I got to tell you, I wouldn't, if unless the pay was in a certain range, I wouldn't even go to the interview, apply, so on and so forth. And we have this high turnover rate, and yeah, we could say it's definitely going to be our pay, but maybe if we paid them more, we'd get folks who wanted to stick around longer just on their own. Better qualified folks. These are the people that are affecting our bottom line, because we're either stressing out the good employees that we do have and they're leaving and finding better opportunities that know how to treat them properly, or we're letting a few guys straggle along a little bit longer than they should, because maybe they're well-natured, but they have absolutely no intention of being progressive in the job whatsoever. Again, we need to start finding ways that we can actually utilize this talent. Well, really, we need to retain the talent, and then we need to figure out ways that we can properly utilize it in the future. But definitely, I think getting ourselves started off with a stronger foundation is one of the tools we're going to be able to use to, not necessarily look at this as a poor investment. I know when people start talking raises or, let's pay the employees more and more has to come out of our pocket, which is really what we're talking about here. It can be kind of daunting because, yeah, we don't live in apartments and we're not, living off food stamps, but we still have our bills and we need to make our money and take care of our families. Now, like I said, direct link Glassdoor.com actually found a 10 to 15% variable correlation between how much employers paid and how much employees actually liked their job. Now, I'm going to share some other statistics a little bit later on that are going to kind of shed light on why happier employees are more beneficial for us, but I think we can already get where I'm kind of going with this one. Let's just make sure we're properly paying our salesmen. We're properly equipping them to do the job that we've asked them to do. Because the bottom line is we are all operating in an attitude-driven environment, and if we're not even allowing them to really have a proper attitude, then how much can we really, be upset with them for not having a proper attitude? Because I can tell you, if I was working full-time and I couldn't feed myself or get to work half the time, I would not be happy. I'd be desperate. And I just don't think we're the kind of company that needs to hire desperate people, and I don't think we're the kind of company that feels desperate for business. I feel like we're the kind of company that can decide to make some investments that will definitely pay off in the future. For example, DigitalListMag.com actually says that happy salesmen will produce 37% more than your average salesman. That's not 37% more than an unhappy salesman. That's 37% more than just your everyday Joe. So all we got to do is, and I mean, if you think about what makes, some of these folks happy, they're not asking for $20 an hour extra. They're asking for dollars, extra commission bonuses, very small things. These are the kind of things that we could easily do. I actually forgot one of my quotes, actually. There's one from Glassdoor I was supposed to share earlier. One of the main points here, there's a big difference, notably, that people know between what we're paying and what other companies are paying. Solar City, they do exactly the same thing we do, and actually they've been doing it for, I think, half the amount of time, and their employees are making about 43% more. Now you can take a look at that company, but I think we all have heard of Solar City. We know how successful it is. And I think in regards to an investment well paid off, they identified one, and they definitely gave us an example of something to follow. Now, back to Digital List Mag. 86% of customers. Now remember, the quote I gave you before this was happy salesmen will provide 37% more profit. More profit, more volume. They work 37% harder, happier. Anyways, 86% of all customers will pay 25% more for a better experience. So, you know, we're results oriented people. We're thinking, what does somebody want to pay more for? Quicker, faster, better quality? Of course. But what they're saying is the number one reason, 86%, almost all customers are willing to pay 25% more, which if we were to charge 25% more to all of our customers, we could easily afford for everybody to get a raise, including you and me. They'll do it for a better experience. That actually had nothing to do with product quality, nothing to do with how many other people actually really liked what they had. It had everything to do with how smooth and quality the experience was. So, in conclusion, folks, let's see this as an investment. Let's get out there and start looking at ways that we can actually not only take care of our salesmen. Let's raise the minimum wage. I want to make sure that we pay our salesmen at least $12 an hour. No, actually, that's about what make sure our salesmen are getting paid at least $17 an hour. And I want us to properly equip them emotionally and financially to be able to do the job that we've asked them to do. So the call to action here, folks, is let's team up. Let's take this as a team. Let's be successful as a team. Let's never have it be us versus them. Let's make sure that we're building each other up. We're seeing talent where it needs to be recognized, and we're recognizing it, and we're investing it, and we're building money. That's how you build money. So thank you for your time. I hope you guys have a great day.